We face an array of issues that confound, perplex, befuddle, and confuse us. No matter what sector you're in, the issues you face daily may seem overwhelming. They can be so overwhelming they lead to delay, inaction, perhaps you struggle with analysis paralysis, or feel like giving up. There is hope, however. Watch this video and hit subscribe to this channel if you want to find ways to be more effective at addressing your challenges. If you and your colleagues and teams want to solve problems rather than feeling paralysis. If you want to feel on top of the issues and not in over your head. So, before we dive in, you will get more out of this video if you're an active learner and not a passive sponge trying to soak up facts. So I'm going to ask you to do something unusual. Stop this video. Well, pause it. But wait, hold on. Before you pause, I'm giving you an assignment, should you wish to accept it. Your task? Write down 3 important challenging issues you and your colleagues face that, if you could solve them, would help you and your organization achieve your mission, to have an impact beyond your wildest dreams. 3 issues you must improve or address that contribute to your mission, that seem unsolvable now. Got it? Take as much time as you want, write them down, then start up the video again. Pause now. Welcome back. Thanks for giving me the chance to take a nice long nap, which I highly recommend. If you've watched the intro to the channel video, you'll know that my colleague Craig Weber, drawing from the work of Ron Heifetz, places all issues we face along a continuum. On the left are problems Craig refers to as routine. They are easily diagnosed, like we've run out of copier paper or my leg is broken. There's a routine for addressing, like a standard office ordering process or the ER protocol for x-raying and then setting the leg. And there's most likely an expert to fix it, like the administrative assistant or the ER doc. On the other end of the continuum are adaptive challenges. These are the exact opposite of routine problems. They aren't easily diagnosed, like what's going on with disruptive markets, or what is the cause and implications of inequity in our community. There's no agreed upon solution, like how do you navigate disruptive markets? How can we reduce inequity? Why are they happening? There's no expert to solve. We can't call Ghostbusters. Sunday morning pundits will offer multiple and conflicting solutions, usually way too simplistic and far too ideological to be useful. Now's the audience participation portion of this video. Where did your 3 top issues fall on this continuum? If you are like the majority of people I've worked with, and these have been Fortune 50 companies, the World Bank, and many NGOs, even US legislators, if you're like them, the preponderance of your issues fell toward the adaptive challenge end of the continuum. This is significant because we often try to apply, we even hope for, a routine fix to an adaptive challenge, and there isn't one. In 1986, while still in college, I watched in horror as the Challenger exploded. NASA did an extensive investigation, and then there was the Challenger report. The inquiry even included the testimony of famous quantum physicist Richard Feynman. NASA applied a routine solution approach. They created a new organizational structure. And I'm sure you've never been part of a reorganization that was supposed to fix a problem. New rules for interaction and decisions, and it was less than 20 years later that the Columbia disaster happened. We do this all the time. Apply a routine cookie-cutter solution to an adaptive challenge. And the results range from ineffective and mediocre to, as with the shuttle Columbia, disastrous. When working on problems that are wholly routine, we need to just apply the fix. There's no need to wait. The bias should be toward action when dealing with a routine problem. But the further the issue falls toward the adaptive challenge end of the continuum, the more we need to orchestrate a process of learning. But what kind of learning? It turns out not all learning is the same. Let's look at the learning process. To better understand, again, I think my colleague Craig Weber has made an important but sometimes inscrutable concept accessible to us all. Every day we are faced with issues, problems, challenges. We go to work and there is work to do, problems to solve. In order to solve them, we use our understanding of the issues. We have assumptions about what's causing the problem, mental maps of the territory, or as I refer to them, mental models, assumptions about what's causing an issue. These mental models are essential because based on this diagnosis, we can then come up with solutions. We develop strategies, make plans, take action. And based on those actions, we have impacts, create results. If I create a presentation thinking that management likes data in the analysis and the presentation fails, I will probably assume not enough data and make more data for the next one. And if that goes well, I've successfully applied single loop learning. The result isn't good enough for me, so I access my mental model and push harder, increase the effort in analysis, and bingo, better results. However, in the case of the Challenger disaster, the collective mental model at NASA assumed the problem was one of organizational structure and decision rules. They fixed those, or so they thought, but they left the can-do culture untouched. And the next time around, there was an equally horrific outcome. They didn't double loop. What would double loop learning have looked like in this case? They would have applied double loop learning if they had fundamentally changed the mental models of cause. They would have analyzed their mental models and revised to pinpoint the cause as cultural, not organizational, and a culture-focused mental model would lead to a fundamentally different strategy. One defining attribute of adaptive challenges are that they require double loop learning. How do we orchestrate double loop learning, and what kind of mental models are required? These two men are competing to see who can eat cotton candy the fastest. Everyone watching has probably eaten cotton candy, and most of us, at least the first time, would approach the contest the way the man on the left does. But the winner is the man who has a more accurate mental model of cotton candy. You could say he understands the physics of cotton candy. He knows the structure of cotton candy. Having a mental model that understands the structure that determines the behavior gives him a competitive advantage. He wins because he has double-looped cotton candy. To address the fundamental, wicked, highly adaptive challenges we face, we need to double-loop issues that are far more complex and important than cotton candy. We must create mental models capable of solving our adaptive challenges. We must create mental models that clearly understand the structure responsible for the behavior, the dynamics in the world we wish to improve. When we use systemic intelligence to double loop learn, we first frame the issue in terms of behaviors over time. For example, sales have been oscillating. Usually there are a few behaviors that are interconnected. Inventories and customer satisfaction have also been oscillating. And so have sales staffing levels. And capacity has been added incrementally over time. Once we are clear on the interconnected behaviors to understand, we then map out visually, make causal connections, the structure responsible for the behavior. In this case, a growth with underinvestment structure is under the hood. Computer simulation improves both our understanding of the behaviors and usefulness of our maps or mental models. The structure of a system includes both physical and non-physical components. These components form the causal connections driving dynamics. There are connections between such elements of the system as the organizational structure, the decision rules, rewards and incentives, information flows, physical capacities, staff skills, morale and stress, and the natural environment. Once we know how those various elements are causally connected, we are then able to influence behavior. We can find leverage to address those adaptive challenges, and we will have double loop learned. In summary, systemic intelligence helps us to better double loop learn. Double loop learning builds mental models with two very clear components. First, they frame the issues to address in terms of dynamics, behaviors. They visualize how the issues change over time. The second component is a clear picture of the causal relationships that generate the dynamics. The structure, including capacity, decision rules, skills, information flows, and rewards and incentives. And these must be consistent with how the natural world works. With those two components, we are able to generate high-leverage solutions. The video Introduction to Systemic Intelligence explains these two components in more detail. Other videos on this channel, like the 6I framework and the iceberg, will provide tools and techniques to help you strengthen those components in your mental model. We can and will work together to increase our capacity to facilitate double loop learning. We will then be able to solve those adaptive challenges you listed earlier and those we all must solve together.